What's up everyone, Lion Roar here, and the legendary Anubis has joined us in Empires and Puzzles, so of course, I'm gonna break him down and give him a grade. But first, download Gemstone Legends, a mobile RPG puzzle match game. Use the link in the description to start with free stuff, including a bonus hero. Alright, so Anubis is a Dunes hero, 5-star, purple, sorcerer class, and of course part of the Moon family. This has a bonus for 1 or 2 heroes that's 50 or 75% chance to cast negative 24% defense, which is pretty good, for 2 turns, and 196 water damage over 2 turns on an enemy who deals special skill damage to this character. That's a sneaky one. It's a good one. If an enemy's special skill defeats this character, the chance is 75% or 100%. Don't necessarily love those that depend on a hero dying, but whatever. It's got it for when it's alive too. It's just not quite as strong. But that's a good passive. That's a really good one. Effects on special skill: 60% chance to perform the following actions when this character casts their special skill. Deals 70% damage to all enemies and dispels the latest dispellable buff from all enemies. Alright, with the max power preview on, if you potentially take the paths that are showing it here, you have 907 in attack, 980 defense, and 1831 HP, so this is a really tough one. Anubis is hard to kill. The special skill is Mark of Anubis, average speed. You can make that functionally fast if you use a mana troop. Again, I know it's not actually fast, it's functionally fast, meaning you go down to 3 matches to fire the special skill instead of 4 in general. Of course, that depends on the number of tiles you're using, not necessarily the matches, but in most cases it's matches. Inflicts the target with greed for 3 turns. The enemies with greed prevent other enemies from receiving friendly effects of their allies' special skills. That means anything positive. So healing, buffs, stuff like that. That's pretty powerful. That's probably the best thing that this special has going on. But it also has all enemies receive 555 poison damage over 3 turns, and all enemies get negative 34% defense for 3 turns. Now, that 555 poison damage over 3 turns is not a lot of damage, but it's something. So at least you're getting some damage out of this. But I always love defense down. You get that. And then this greed effect is very, very, very unique. It does only last for 3 turns. I guess it might start to get overpowered really quickly if you went over 3 turns. I would say the effects that I'm seeing here are pretty good. Now, the problem is I don't think Anubis is dealing enough damage to be on a defense. And not only that, but unfortunately this particular greed effect, it wouldn't be so good on defense, because then you would just bring a bunch, like, let's say I'm facing Anubis on defense. I would just bring a bunch of heroes then that don't depend on giving buffs or healing or things like that. I would focus on putting together a team to beat the Anubis team that has a bunch of status ailments and defense down and all that kind of fun stuff. So people are going to play around it. So not great on defense. I do think that does limit Anubis a bit. But on offense, this is a really cool, creative tool you can use on an offense to really squelch what the other team is doing. And I think that could be a really fun thing. I think Anubis is pushing an A on offense for me, although it's really a support type of character, because you're doing this to enable your other characters to win the game, your other heroes. Anubis is just making that extremely likely to happen, depending on who's on the other team. But for that reason, like, you can't necessarily use Anubis in every match that you go on offense. You're going to have to pick Anubis when it looks like they have a lot of positive effects going on the other side of the battlefield, right? So not even necessarily useful all the time on offense, but definitely more useful on offense. And on defense, just not quite as useful. I mean, when we think about the different ways you're going to use Anubis in this game, it's not many. Definitely wars and raids, and maybe even tournaments, but not necessarily events. I think Anubis is too slow for events when you're trying to do timed events, for example. If you're just trying to go for completion, that's okay. Anubis might help with that with the defense down and the poison damage. Definitely not against the Titan. There's nothing here. Maybe defense down. If you have no other option in purple for defense down, it could be okay to get that defense down effect. So maybe some use against the Titan. So like basically what I'm saying here is there's some use. There's not like flexible everywhere kind of use, right? So that does knock Anubis down a little bit for me. I think Anubis is a fine hero. I think there's cool creative uses, and whoever gets her is gonna, or him actually, is gonna have a lot of fun using him in the scenarios where he can be used. I just don't think he can be used everywhere. So for that reason, I'm gonna give Anubis a B-. When Anubis is good, Anubis is really good, but a lot of times Anubis isn't useful. So that's what I think. But what do you think? Make sure to let me know in the comments. If you haven't already, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit that bell notification, and I will catch you in the next one.